Hi, I'm John Orchard and I'd like to introduce our paper which compares different injury rates in different climates with respect to the football codes. The data that we're looking at specifically in this paper that's new is from the Australian Football League, and the Australian Football League is the highest level of professional football in the sport of Australian football, which is different to soccer. So some of you international people might know it as Aussie rules. We've previously published data from the AFL that finds that certain injuries are more common in the northern, warmer parts of Australia compared to the southern, cooler parts of Australia. This is new data that hasn't been previously published, and in this study we particularly compare the data with some of the other published findings from other football codes, in particular soccer in Europe, which has found some findings that are similar. The common findings that we report between the AFL data and the European soccer data are that there are some injuries that are more common in warmer climate zones and some injuries that are trending towards more common in cooler climate zones. ACL, that is knee anterior cruciate ligament injuries, appear to be more common in warmer climate zones, and ankle sprains also appear to be more common in warmer climate zones. Achilles tendon injuries, by contrast, appear to be more common in cooler climate zones. There are a few other findings that are detailed in the paper, but these are the ones that have a trend that bears out in the different sports in different parts of the world. In this video abstract, I'm also able to give you a look at warm season grasses, and this is very relevant for people who live in a cool climate part of the world. The cool climate grass that's generally used on most turf is perennial ryegrass. There's also another grass which is known as Kentucky bluegrass in the US and known as meadowgrass in parts of Europe, that's sometimes used in cool climate zones. The cool climate grasses tend to have less of what we call lateral growth, and lateral growth is a way that the grass links itself together and gains strength, and lateral growth is particularly a feature of warm season grasses. So we see a lot of this in Australia, particularly in our summer months and particularly in the northern parts of Australia. I'm making this video in my own backyard in Sydney in early spring, and the turf we've got in our backyard is a warm season grass, and I'd like to demonstrate some of the features of it so that you can see the difference between a warm season grass and a cool climate grass if you do live in a cool climate. When you look at grass from a TV shot, all you see is the green blades, and there doesn't seem to be much difference in the grass that you might see in a warm climate compared to a cool climate. When you look a bit closer to a warm season grass, you might see the lateral growth, and in fact in our lawn that I'd like to show you today, there's some grass that's been present over the whole of winter which has survived the winter and which looks fairly routine, but there's also some portable grass we've brought in for the start of spring to replace the shady areas, and this portable grass has lost a bit of its green tinge, and you can really see the thatch very well, which is the remnant of the lateral growth, and you can get some sort of idea of how much this grass might affect the shoe surface interface and why it might lead to high traction and different injuries might be common on a warm season grass surface. So if we pan down to this area here, this is the grass that's been present over winter, and it's looking quite healthy, and you might see on this grass a little bit of the thatch below. If you move over here to this section, which is the same grass, both of these grasses are buffalo grass. This is portable grass that we've just moved in, and since we've installed this a couple of weeks ago, the leaves of the grass haven't really survived that war because they haven't really embedded yet, and you're seeing all of this really thick thatch layer below this grass, and you can just imagine the cleat of a football boot. If you put a football boot in here and then change direction, there's a lot of resistance to that movement that you wouldn't get in a grass that doesn't have this lateral growth. So this will hopefully let you understand how there could be a difference between grass surfaces in a cool climate compared to a warm climate, and why you might get more injuries related to high traction in a warmer surface or a warmer climate on these sort of surfaces compared to a cooler climate where you might have less traction and more slippage and a different type of injury profile.